first met our next speaker, we were totally charmed, and we actually weren't all that surprised to learn that she's a former winner of the Singapore Tourism Board Award for Tourism Host. She's also the manager of Singapore History Consultants, and is also the co-creator of the original Singapore Walk series. Oh, your peeps, sorry for that. Bringing you all the interesting nooks, crannies, and back alleys of Singapore, which gives a whole new meaning to the phrase "wake up." Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to introduce you to Savita Kashyap.
Hello everyone. My speech has nothing to do with all the things that Colin just described of me. My story actually has to do a little bit with being a mother in Singapore. And like most mothers in Singapore, I'm quite kiasu, you know what that means, right? One of my kids is having their O-levels this year, the other one's having PSLE, and you all know who's the one being stressed out, right? Obviously, okay? Me very much. But unlike most other mothers in Singapore, I think I'm very lucky, very privileged to actually have been given a whole year off from work, okay? Thanks to my very kind boss sitting right over there. To everyone, I think you deserve a clap. and you know, this is despite the government's pro-family, pro-shared values and things like that. I'm one of the very few who has this privilege of getting the full year off. Anyway, back to my story. Here we were, back in Singapore, my husband and I, after 6 years of having lived in the Middle East, in Abu Dhabi, that's in the United Arab Emirates. And we were back. Well, we had with us a little boy and a baby girl, and the kids grew up, you know, as they will. And it was time for them to go to school. And my son, when he went into primary school, his very first year, we had an experience of our very first racial harmony day. Okay? At first we were really puzzled, my husband and I. Racial harmony? You know, what on earth is all that about? Back in our time, you know, when we were growing up in the 60s, you didn't talk about racial harmony. You just had a lot of friends who came from all walks of life, from all, you know, different backgrounds and nationalities and ethnic groups, and that was it. You didn't think about racial harmony. So anyway, we got pretty excited when we received this letter from his class teacher, and she had, you know, explained everything, and then we found out, oh, racial harmony days. You know, to remember those horrendous riots that we had back in July 1964 during Prophet Muhammad's birthday celebrations. And we remember that every year by celebrating cultural and racial diversity and harmony. Okay? So, anyway, the instructions from the teacher were very clear. She said, send your child to school dressed up in ethnic attire, okay? And send him or her with some ethnic food as well to be shared with all the other kids in the class. So, you know, being a really conscientious mom, went down to Little India, bought my little boy a nice little kurta and pajama, dressed him up as a nice little Indian boy, and cooked this, you know, lovely Indian sweets for him. Put them in a Tupperware, sent him off to school, okay? And I thought it'd be a great day. Now, he came back in the evening in a terrible rage. This little boy just, you know, threw the door open, tore off his clothes, and threw his Tupperware down. And I said, Karya, what happened to you? What's wrong? And he said, I hate you, I hate school, I hate Singapore, I hate racial harmony day, and I hate being an Indian. Okay? And he was like, what? What happened? Why? And he said, Mom, why did you make me wear this? Everybody laughed at what I was wearing. And, you know, and the food that he made for me, nobody ate it, nobody even looked at it. I said, why? Didn't the other kids bring, you know, food from home? And he said, they did, you know, and the teacher said, okay, everybody bring your food. Yeah, what did you bring? Okay, go to the canteen, go and share, okay? So everybody went to the canteen and opened their food, and he said that, but then Bernard's mom came over with Kentucky Fried Chicken. And everybody forgot, you know, looking at the ethnic, I went straight for that, okay? And oh my God, you know, that was our first racial harmony day, right? Where was the teacher? Where was she? You know, she was supposed to like, okay, this is Indian, this is Malay, this is Chinese and all that. And, well, you know, I don't know whether you get the point I'm making, but I don't think we need to talk about racial harmony, you know, like back in the 60s. We just be who we are, that's it. Okay? Alright.
Thank you very much, Savita, for sharing that with us. I think it's very telling that Racial Harmony Day was wrecked by Colonel Sanders. Many things are wrecked by a man in white.